So the poll has been taken down. You all are good. We have gotten a lot of answers, so thank you to everyone for responding to that. Um, and then Adina, can we go to I think we're on to the next one or two slides. So anyone have any questions about how to operate Zoom? Just a quick reminder, in the lower left-hand corner is your mute and your video and the chat option as well. Just hover your mouse over the Zoom screen and those should come up in the bottom. For right now, your video and your mute should have a red X to them, and you can use the chat feature and we'll be able to communicate through there. When there's a breakout room, feel free to turn on your camera and your microphone so you can communicate in the breakout room. So next slide, please. So really quickly tonight, we're going to talk about the wildlife and wildlands. There's a plethora of presenters here coming to help and introduce you to some of their programs. We don't have every single program available, but we tried to get quite a few of them to come and talk to you all. It's going to be quick introductions of all of them, and at the end, you all will have time to meet with all of them and have your questions answered regarding their programs, time to meet with them. And then we encourage you to attend all 3 webinars. Next week is Working Lands and Water, a little bit more forestry and farming potentially related. And then the last one is People and Infrastructure, all sorts of different landowner topics that might be prevalent to you as a landowner. We encourage you to attend all 3. There might be things you didn't even know about that you might be interested in. So next slide, please. I also wanted to make sure we introduce ourselves. The new landowner team is made up of myself and a couple of the other members here on this Zoom call. We're kind of working behind the scenes, but myself, Adina Rissman, Tierney Bosky, Diane Meyerfeld, Scott Hirschberger, we have been creating a different program. This has been going on maybe for 5 or 6 years, this new landowner webinar. And we've been doing a couple other events and outreach stuff to help landowners get started with stewardship. And we also have a new land stewardship homepage. That website is at the bottom of this slide right here. You can also just Google UW extension land steward and it should come up. But we encourage you to check out our website. It's kind of like tonight's or the next 3 webinars packed into a website. We'd love to hear your feedback, what you liked, what you didn't see, what you'd like to see on there. It's really exciting stuff that we've been working very hard on. Next slide, please. And then so tonight we're going to hear from a suite of conservation organizations and professionals specifically focused on wildlife and wildlands, the folks who can help you navigate management choices around prairies, grasslands, and savannas, wildlife, gardens, and pollinators, and a little bit of fire as well. We hope that you stick with us for the next 2 weeks, and we'll be talking more about woods and water, and then the structures and roads in the next ones. And so we're trying to take all of Wisconsin landscapes, as they're very diverse in a lot of different ecosystems, so which can lead you all as landowners to different goals and issues that go along with those. So we hope to help you achieve your property goals, whatever it may be, from forest to farmlands, waterfront, prairie restorations, anything there. And one of the really valuable things about all of the groups that we're going to introduce you to are the programs that they offer, and assistance and services are geared toward helping landowners navigate the topic areas that you're interested in. So how it's going to go, I've kind of mentioned it before. Each organization is going to have a couple of minutes to kind of say who, what, where, when, why about who they are in their organization they work with. And then we're going to go through several organizations. And at the very end, there'll be breakout rooms. I'll help you navigate those as well if you're not familiar with Zoom. There'll be breakout rooms, and you can go into those breakout rooms as landowners and talk to those professionals and have your questions answered, hopefully. And so we just want to remind you this webinar is for you as landowners, so please feel free to take notes and get questions ready for those presenters in those breakout rooms. They are also really excited to connect with you. And we know it can be a lot of information to take in, so we suggest you taking 1 or 2 organizations that you think you'd like to follow up with and writing some notes down. They should have most of their contact information on their slides. And so we're going to actually just jump right into it. And so we're going to have the presenters come on up. The first one we have is Myha from the Farm Service Agency. Next slide.
All right, I'll get started. Hi, everybody. My name is Myha Ewoldt. I work with the USDA Farm Service Agency. I work out of the Eau Claire office, but I also do some statewide support. So I'm going to talk to you today about the Conservation Reserve Program, or CRP. So CRP is a voluntary program for landowners or farmers to establish cover on eligible cropland with the goals of controlling soil erosion, improving water quality, and creating wildlife habitat. These are long-term contracts, so they're going to be anywhere from 10 to 15 years. And in terms of covers, we can do a lot of different things on the landscape. We can do prairies, trees, shrubs, shallow ponds, a lot of different options. How do you know if your land is eligible? So we are looking at cropping history on fields. So that would be taking a look at 2012 to 2017. 4 out of those 6 years have to show a planted commodity crop. Corn, soybeans, oats, those are pretty obvious if they're eligible, but hay fields can also qualify in certain rotations. That 2012 to 2017, historically with the Farm Bill change, those years could change, but that's what they are right now. If you need help with cropping history or determining if you're eligible, you can contact your local FSA office. The other eligibility requirement is that you have owned or farmed the land for at least a year. So what do you get in return for doing CRP? So you would get an annual rental payment that's based on your soil types. It will change based on what county you're in, what sign up type. Just as an example, last year Eau Claire ranged from 58 per acre on the low end to 172 on the high end. But it varies by where you are. Another incentive is cost share. So we can give you cost share for the site prep, the planting, the seeds or trees, and then normally 1 weed control after planting, and then also some additional incentive payments. So for our popular monarch habitat, some signups you can get 100% of your costs covered, which is a great benefit. Another benefit is just some technical assistance from our partners, NRCS and the DNR. As a producer doing the program, it is not a set it and forget it program. We do require you to maintain the cover throughout the 10 or 15 years by controlling weeds or woody invasives. We also require you to annually report and do some paperwork with the FSA, and then just good communication throughout the course of your contract. So currently, we do not have a sign up. We are anxiously awaiting for that sign up to open, but I still recommend calling your local FSA and they can get you on a list for when the sign up does open, but hoping to connect in the rooms.
Thanks, Maya. On to our next.
Hi, I'm Dan Carter. I'm ecologist for the Prairie enthusiasts. I won't quite go in the order of this slide, but we're a land trust. So we protect land, but we're also very involved in stewardship of land, and so are most of our members. And a lot of what we offer is a community of resources and expertise and experience for landowners. So you can find out more about us at our website. You could also get to me indirectly through that info at the Prairie Enthusiast email. But for example, the sorts of things we're doing this month include a celebration of 50 years of stewardship at Mural Bluff, work parties, prescribed burn training up in Dunn County. We're hosting a tour that's focused on frogs in southeastern Wisconsin. So lots of different dimensions of prairie, savanna, and oak woodland ecosystems that we care for. What I principally do is visit landowners and walk their properties with them and discuss conservation opportunities and priorities, and potentially how one might go about restoring different fire-dependent ecosystems. I'm funded by the philanthropy of our members, so I mostly do visit members, but anybody that thinks they might have a remnant bit of prairie hanging on their property, we're certainly interested in that. I'm certainly interested in that, and you should feel free to get in touch. Thanks.
Thank you. We have Jamie Nack with Extension Wildlife.
All right. Hi, everybody. I have just a couple of slides here. I wanted to just introduce you to the Division of Extension Wildlife team. So you've had a chance to meet a few of the forestry focused extension folks on this call, but Extension Wildlife has 3 specialists throughout the state. Myself and Professor David Drake, and we are both in the Department of Forest and Wildlife Ecology at UW-Madison. And then at UW-Stevens Point, Jason Riddle is the center director for the Wisconsin Center for Wildlife and also an extension wildlife specialist. So essentially what this means is the 3 of us are working on wildlife related topics throughout the state. And each of us has our own unique program, but also overlap with some of the topics that we cover. Adina, can you advance the slide, please? So I think probably the program that is most relevant that I want to spend just a minute or so talking about is the Wisconsin Coverts Project. And this is a project that's been going on since 1994 in Wisconsin. It is probably, I'll argue it's the most intensive wildlife management training for private landowners that we offer. So it's a 3-day workshop. It's held in northern Wisconsin on Lake Tomahawk at Kemp Natural Resources Station, which is one of the UW-Madison field stations. And it's residential in nature. So we have an application process, but we accept about 25 to 30 landowners each year who are interested in managing their property for wildlife, both in terms of abundance and diversity. And I guess important to point out that we do not have a set species in mind or habitat, forest habitat successional state in mind, but more to provide you with options as landowners and to help you think through what your property goals are as it pertains to wildlife. So we bring in lots of forestry and wildlife professionals from state agencies, federal government, nonprofits. We partner with the Rough Grouse Society to put this workshop on an annual basis. And I guess I would encourage you to visit our website. It's in the lower left corner there. And that website will have an agenda from last year, so you can get a really good feel for the content, the intensity of the program, and so on. And then also there's a brochure and there's an application. And so the reason we do have an application is this is a true train the trainer type program, a program where we're taking 25 to 30 landowners, kind of handpicking them. We're looking for folks who are involved in their communities, involved in other organizations, that they're likely to share the information that they learn through the Coverts program so that our investment can extend further within that community of landowners. So there's no minimum acreage requirement. Obviously, the more acreage, the more possibilities we have in terms of managing for wildlife, but there's no acreage requirement. We kind of balance that with what folks, what their outreach potential is. So I'll leave that there. You can certainly visit the website. I appreciate folks commenting. We've got a number on the call that have gone through the program. So there's some other contacts there for maybe discussion. So, and if you want to go to the last slide. And then just another quick few resources here to make you aware of. Within the Coverts website, there is a page where I've put links to resources, and they're really resources that are geared towards wildlife and forest management for the private landowner. And so they're organized by topic area. It could be dealing with nuisance wildlife. It could be forest management concepts. There's sections on legacy planning or estate planning for your woodlands, climate change, mitigation, adaptation, invasive species, you name it. So that's just a nice resource to go ahead and bookmark. And then lastly, We do often deal with the negative side of wildlife when wildlife are causing problems, and that certainly happens in private land situations as well. So another great resource for you to bookmark is the Wildlife Ecology and Damage Management website. We have a number of fact sheets on there to help you deal with things from woodchucks to turkeys to sandhill cranes to bats and so on. And then finally, knowing that wildlife also reside in urban or suburban areas. Some of you may have homes in those locations. Even if you have a 1/4 acre lot, there are things that you can do to help manage for wildlife. And so I want to put down the Urban Wildlife Project website, which really focuses in that urban setting and a smaller scale landscape and how you can manage for wildlife.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks.
And just a reminder, we'll be sending a recording of everything. So next we have Kaleb.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Kaleb Boulder. I'm a wildlife biologist with the Wisconsin DNR DMAP program. So yeah, DMAP is the Deer Management Assistance Program. It is essentially the private lands program for the Wisconsin DNR. So I'm located in Antigo, Wisconsin. I'm part of a team of 4 wildlife biologists, and we have a few additional contractors that focus on private lands. So very unlike the rest of the wildlife biologists in the state that are managing the state's public lands, we focus on any private lands throughout the state. So in general, our program mission is to partner with private landowners to foster positive relationships, implement sound landowner specific habitat and herd management, and collect data to support deer management in Wisconsin. So a pretty deer heavy mission, but I guess in the last few years we've been working more and more with a lot of folks with a variety of topics. So not focusing just on deer. I mean, we work with landowners that are focused on songbirds and ruffed grouse and turkeys and all sorts of different habitats and different wildlife. So our program recently just went through a pretty major review and update and just got approved through legislation about 2 weeks ago. So we're actually not currently open for enrollment, but we're looking at opening up for enrollment in January of 2026. So I guess the best way for anybody interested in our program would be just to contact me in the future. So I drop my information in the chat. Feel free to email me, text me, call me, and we can get you on a list for the coming year. But starting in January of 2026, our general membership will be $50 for a 3-year enrollment. That 3-year enrollment will give you access to a library of habitat management resources. So every year, our biologists make new resources on tree planting, invasive work, a host of different habitat projects you can do, in your free time. We also do a monthly newsletter with a bunch of updates and resource type articles on projects you could be working on your property. We'd also be direct contacts for you guys. Anybody can call us at any time and we can answer questions on anything you're interested in. So we also have a bunch of workshops, so virtual and in-person workshops. I think this year we're having 8 workshops throughout the year on a variety of topics. Invasives, we just had one on elk management in the state of Wisconsin. So some cool insights from some of the state's kind of species specialist as well. So we also have a database then where you can track your management of projects as well as your deer observation and harvest. And based off that data, we can create reports for you as well. So cool way to track kind of your habitat management on your property. And one major change then, looking at the table on the right side, is we used to have a threshold of 160 acres to get a site visit. That is now getting dropped down to 40 acres. So being a little bit more inclusive to our landowners in the state of Wisconsin, there's kind of a breakdown of our costs there. So yeah, anybody from 40 to 160 acres and then up, to infinity could get a site visit then with a biologist and a DNR forester. And we'd walk your property with you and give you a management plan essentially for whatever habitat projects you'd be interested in. So it's all driven off of whatever specific habitat you want to focus on your property. So yeah, like I said, feel free to reach out to me and we'll get you in line to get enrolled in 2026. Thanks.
Thanks, Kaleb. And we have Anna Marie next.
Hi, I'm Anna Marie Hintz. I'm the Farm Bill Biologist for Central Wisconsin. So what Pheasants Forever is we are a habitat organization, and we have 15 biologists in the state and 3 precision ag specialists. What we do is we assist landowners in designing, developing, managing, and funding habitat projects on private lands. We provide technical assistance, which is like site visits, we create seed mixes, and we can provide habitat recommendations, not just for pheasants, although pheasants are in the name. We provide habitat assistance for turkeys, deer, songbirds, butterflies, you name it. We work with a lot of partners, so we work really closely with NRCS and FSA, but we also work with the DNR, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, County Land and Water. So if one of our programs don't work for you, we can try to point you in the right direction to get your projects, hopefully some cost share, work with you. The projects that we usually work with are pollinator plantings, tree and shrub plantings, brush management, invasive treatment, and then rotational grazing systems and wetland scrapes.
Awesome. Thank you. And Bo is next with U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So I'm Bo Hendrickson. I work with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Partners for Fish and Wildlife program. Essentially, we're a program that provides technical and financial assistance to private landowners and other partners for habitat restoration and enhancement. We have, I believe, 6 now PFW staff all over the state. So we have someone that covers every part of the state, and we help plan, design, supervise, and monitor projects all over the state, managing contractors, custom seed mixes, the whole kit and caboodle, essentially. And our projects are custom designed to meet the landowner's goals and objectives. So we're really just trying to work with the landowner, figure out what their goals and needs are for the property and what they're trying to do, see how we can best mesh with them. We've had people graze on prairies. We've had people do all sorts of type of things with our habitat projects. So we're just trying to find the best niche and how we can help any given landowner. The efforts are focusing on the benefiting species of concern and habitats of conservation concern, like prairies, oak savannas, wetlands, monarch butterflies, Carner blue butterflies. The whole spectrum is kind of our thing, but we also recognize that our habitats restoration projects help deer, turkeys, song, upland birds, waterfowl, the whole strand of wildlife. There's no size or acreage requirements, no applications, so you can sign up anytime throughout the year. No public access, so you don't have to open your property for public access by any means. And it's a 10-year 10-year agreement. And essentially throughout that 10 years, we just ask the landowner to best manage the habitat projects to the best of their ability through either just monitoring for woody invasives, burning, mowing, whatever it may be. Just do it to the best of your ability, and we're always there as a contact to come out and help you with that type of stuff. So
Thanks, Bo. And next we have Corey Ruland with NRCS and Rough Grouse Society.
So I work with Rough Grouse Society in partnership with NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation. We have a forest wildlife specialist, so we have 4 of those positions throughout the state. We cover most of the state. We have locations in Spooner, Whitehall, Ladysmith, and Antigo. So we get pretty good coverage throughout the whole state in those locations. We're pretty private land centered, so we work closely with NRCS and USDA Farm Bill programs. So we're an agency within the USDA, similar to FSA.
You may have cut out really quick. Oh, Corey, are you back, Corey? Awesome. Last thing we heard was working with the FSA and the Farm Bill.
Okay. Yeah, so we do, we have a couple different programs, EQIP and CSP, kind of based on your goals and your level of stewardship. Kind of depends which program kind of push you towards. One's more of a 5-year program, and the other one's kind of a one and done program. We do things including tree and shrub planting, invasive species treatment, so buckthorn, honeysuckle, garlic mustard, stuff like that. We can cost share improvement, so timber marking, ironwood and musclewood control. We also do cost share for forest management plans, pollinator plantings, aspen and alder shearing. So alder shearing for woodcock habitat, and we also work with American Bird Conservancy quite a bit for golden wing warbler habitat with the and then also bat boxes and wood duck boxes are also common practices we cost share.
And then you'll be able to talk to Corey a little bit more about different practices with the Rough Grouse Society. And next we'll have the state horticultural program out, extension horticulture. Peggy had to step out for a moment. Don't worry, she left me a quick script to read from. Then next, there we go. All right, so extension horticulture, you may have heard of this, or maybe it's totally new to you. Has resources and services that can help you grow a vegetable or a flower garden, trees and shrubs in your landscape, your lawn to fruit trees, berries in your backyard. Basically, if you're growing plants in and around your home for your own food or pleasure, they probably have something of interest to you. So in the red box on the slide, you'll see the horticulture program web address, hort.extension.wisc.edu. The top of the slide shows their website where you can find more details about all the things that we're going to go over in the next couple minutes that she left for me to read. So really quickly, on the third Monday of each month from 1:30 to 2:30, you can join 5 of their extension experts on an online session where you can ask your gardening question live. And then their next one is Monday, April 21st. So make sure you go to this website and get all the details. The program is free. You just need to register. They also offer in-depth classes where you can learn online at your own pace. This is called Foundations in Gardening, covers all the basics of successfully growing plants. Registration opens July 16th and it fills up quickly, so you might want to mark that on your calendars if it's of interest. And they have a monthly newsletter, What's Happening in Horticulture, that you can sign up for, and you can get it on your inbox on the first Friday of each month. You would visit the monthly newsletter tab to sign up for that. And then they also have a weekly yard and garden column that is printed in newspapers throughout the state. If you haven't seen it in the local newspaper, or you don't subscribe to a paper, you can read it each Monday on their website. Some of the examples of recent articles have included spring lawn care, managing apple scab, pruning evergreen shrubs. Again, no sign up required, just visit the website or read it in your local paper. Additionally, they offer a service where you can ask your gardening question online, and it's one of their staff or volunteers will get back to you. I know that's a really popular program, and I push people towards that site all the time, and they get back in a very timely manner. You can even submit a picture of what you're asking about, and they'll help you. And lastly, if you like growing plants and being active in your local community, they'd love to have you join the Wisconsin Extension Master Gardener program. Master Gardeners are trained through the Foundations in Gardening online course and additional training, and then eventually contributed volunteer hours in their communities through gardening and educational activities in gardening, and in which the details of all about those things you can find out all on that website. And then you can also find out so much more about some of their publications, partners, other things they're doing, and events on the website. Again, you can probably look in the red box on the screen, hort.extension.wisc.edu, and their program will come up. Thank you so much. We can go into the next slide with Andy Bingle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Bingle, and I'm the network coordinator for the Southern Driftless Grasslands Network. And a little bit about what we are. It's interesting. We are a group of organizations that are coming together to help to conserve grasslands at a landscape scale in southwestern Wisconsin. So if you look at the map on your screen, you can see the counties that we're focusing on. Primarily focusing in some of those little areas there with the little birds on them. Those areas have been identified as some critical landscape scale grassland opportunities for conservation. And what's unique about the Southern Driftless Grasslands is that we have governmental and non-governmental organizations coming together, meeting about 6 times a year, and figuring out what are some of the barriers that we're facing in this as a regional scale to have landscape scale grassland conservation. And one of the aspects and important things about this region is that about 95% of this land is privately owned. And it's roughly between 20 and 300 acres. So we're not talking huge swaths of land. So in order to have a landscape scale impact, folks like yourself are very important to engage. And it was quickly realized that not one organization can do that. It takes a whole bunch of different organizations. A lot of who are featured on this call as well, with the Prairie Enthusiasts and DNR, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Wisconsin Prescribed Fire Council. And so one of our partners, or one of the members of the Southern Driftless Grasslands, Pheasants Forever, we heard just from Anna as well, in our region, they're putting on prescribed burn trainings for landowners. And prescribed fire is very important, just like what you heard from Dan from TPE, and helping to restore a lot of the ecosystems, especially in fire-dependent ecosystems like Southwest Wisconsin. And what's interesting is that since there is a lot of land turnover, folks who used to have that social capital built up and also the skills that were needed to burn their own property to have good regeneration, that's leaving. And now we're having new landowners coming. And it's one thing that we'd like to help develop is that skill set. So you can feel confident to invite your neighbors and then burn your property. So those prescribed burn trainings are Thursday, April 17th, or you could come Saturday, May 10th. They're the same training, just offered on 2 different days. Another thing that you can, that Southern Driftless Grasslands offers is you're hearing a whole bunch of like alphabet soup of different opportunities because there's so many great conservation programs that are out there. Sometimes it's pretty hard to navigate. And so what you can do is you can come to Southern Driftless Grasslands to myself, and I can listen to your story and then help you get connected with the right folks that are needed, whether it be the DNR or Fish and Wildlife Service, or there's some different groups that are there. And then finally, we also have a regional land management events calendar for Southwest Wisconsin. And anybody can come to any of these events. You don't have to live in Southwest Wisconsin. That's just where we focus. And I'll put a couple of links in chat here, and I look forward to hearing you in the breakout rooms. Nice to meet everyone.
All right, thanks, Andy. And next, I think we have Emily Martell. There we go.
Oh, fantastic. Hi everyone, can you hear me okay? Oh, there I am.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry. Perfect. A little bit of internet trouble. So yeah, my name is Emily. I am one of the co-chairs of the Education Outreach Committee for the Wisconsin Prescribed Fire Council. We are a statewide organization dedicated to promoting the safe and effective use of prescribed fire in Wisconsin. We've been around for a long time, but in the past couple of years, we have really been able to expand our capacity. So this year, we're offering a lot. So as Andy mentioned, a lot of land in Wisconsin is privately owned, and so we really want to expand the capacity of private landowners to feel confident and able to burn on their own properties. So we are offering a couple different opportunities. If you can't make it down to Southwest Wisconsin for landowner training, we are going to be hosting one in Tomah, Wisconsin, a little more centrally located. In July, there's going to be a conference basically with a coalition of prescribed fire councils, the Northeast Midwest Prescribed Fire Group. So that'll be a really cool hybrid conference. There's actually going to be 2 days of virtual learning, and then we'll have 1 day of field trips. So we are setting up field trips across the state. So please definitely keep an eye out on the Prescribed Fire Council's social media and whatnot. We are working on finalizing those trips, and so we hope to be able to connect with people across the state. And if you do have a lot of experience in prescribed burning and you want to sort of codify that, we are also having a Burn Boss Academy in September. And this is, again, part of our effort to expand capacity for prescribed fire, is to ensure that we have enough leaders who can carry out burns safely and with a lot of expertise. So those are our big projects at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. And I think we have one more from Xerces Society. And Myha had a family event tonight, so I'm just going to go over really quickly. If you're a pollinator lover and a native forbs and grasses lover, I highly suggest you getting in contact with the Xerces Society. Their website and their contact information is at the very bottom of the screen right now. The Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation is actually an international nonprofit, but it has a staff member in Wisconsin to connect with landowners. And they work on habitat kits and technical support and publications. So different things for different landowners and what you're kind of seeking in professional assistance for getting these really special pollinators and those pollinator plants to your land. I cannot speak to the great lengths that Myha is usually able to speak, but I did still want to share his slide and make sure you got that information out about pollinators. So we're going to slowly go into breakout rooms. The next slide will tell you what breakout rooms are, what groups are going to be in what breakout rooms. So breakout room 1 will be kind of like that prairies, savannas, and Wisconsin prescribed fire. So that's FSA, the Prairie Enthusiasts, Southern Driftless Grasslands Partnership, and the Wisconsin Prescribed Fire Council. There'll be the wildlife one, Extension Wildlife, DNR, the Deer Management Assistance Program, Pheasants Forever, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Rough Grouse, and then gardens and pollinators will actually be, some of the extension folks will be in there and helping you talk through some of that. I am going to launch the breakout rooms. If you have questions about how to get into the breakout rooms, you can stay into this main room and we can help you.